The verse I want to look at now is 1 John 1:5. God is light, and in him there is no darkness at all. A person who loves God must have a clear love and passion for reality. Any sense of illusion, hiding, deception, or dishonesty will not be able to endure the journey to God. The light tends to expose. Because God is light, what it tends to expose is everything around us. It gives us high definition. And in seeing that high definition, sometimes we don't want to see it. And that's where it requires great courage to walk towards God. Don't let anybody fool you. It makes Mount Everest look like a speed bump in regards to the courage it takes to step into reality. The journey is not for the weak or faint-hearted. It is not for the timid or the reticent. For each step towards the heart of God is a step towards disclosure of what has been. It is a step towards revelation and discovery of who we really are. Not just on the surface, but in every area of life. Our thoughts, motives, values, and attitudes are exposed. And the terrifying reality of who we really are. Paul starts his journey towards the heart of God thinking he is the least of the apostles. Those were his words. After years of ministry, he realizes he is the least of the saints, his words. Finally, late in his ministry, he defines himself as the worst of all sinners. It is not that Paul is sinning more, it is just that he sees his heart more clearly now. I think one of the things that shocks us is because we have this naive idea that when the more we grow, the less we'll be aware of our brokenness. And there is some truth to that. But I wouldn't say the less we're aware of it, we become more aware of the depths of our brokenness. And as we embrace it and acknowledge it, it becomes less and less relevant because of who God is. And Paul goes from, I think his words were, a man born at the wrong time. He thought he should have been an apostle. He thought he should have been through righteousness, blameless, all that kind of stuff. And at the end of his life in ministry, he says, I'm no better than anybody else. And what he does is life, the tensions, the challenges expose him in such a way that he sees that he is saved by grace. This journey to the light of God's presence has exposed him to the reality of who he was and is. He's a sinner saved by grace, loved by the light, and thus exposed by the growing presence of the light in and through him. Light reveals, exposes, uncovers. It brings life to all it touches. By it, we see all that is, and because of it, we have the ability to interact with all of life. The stronger the light, the clearer we can see reality and walk into it. We need the grace of God to cover us as we journey into the light of God's presence, for what we discover about ourselves and each other will not be pretty. But it is needed if we are to have intimacy with the light. When I'm working with people, sometimes I'll say, never have both eyes on yourself, but always keep one eye on God as you are, kind of bringing self into the presence of God, because you never want to see yourself outside of the grace, the presence, the life of God, because it's too horrifying. So as you look at God, only then can we stand the side of ourselves, because we know that he's already known this about us. We know that he's already chosen his love for us in spite of who we are, not because we're good, but because he is love and he loves us. And as we see him, then we can see ourselves. And in seeing him, we try to look in faith that he loves us, and in looking in that faith, that he sees something in us that brings him great pleasure. Maybe not in the moment, but certainly in the years to come. Thanks.